Hello everyone, welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for coming along as usual to keep me company while I give you some more information I hope you will find very useful. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Please go ahead and subscribe if you have not done so as yet. And remember to give the video a thumbs up if you like it and you think that others may need to hear what we have to say. Please feel free to share. And of course, please add your comments to the comment section as well. So, what am I going to be speaking about today? I am going to speak about the illicit six. Of course, it's the PNP that's been calling them the illicit six. So why am I troubling you now about the illicit six? I am troubling you now about the illicit six because of the past, 6 or 7 months or so, Margot Ling has been talking about it on political platforms. Even during the last election, he was there talking about it, that there are 6 illicit parliamentarians. The government has the report and they're not releasing the names, and he was creating a lot of excitement until Tuesday now. He went to Parliament, mentioned it again, apparently mentioned the Auditor General's report, which he said there's a delay in the tabling and that the government is hiding these 6 persons and we need to know who they are. He claims that the government knows who they are and refused to say, and it's none of them. Remember that he was having each one of his senators and MPs were out saying that they were never contacted by the Integrity Commission about their statutory declaration. You remember that? That now was part of his and the PNP's plan. It's political and a strategy they thought would have been useful in order that suspicion is not thrown on them, but thrown instead on the government. He also claimed that he heard there was a gag order put on ministers, and the ministers are not allowed to speak in public, nor I suppose the other MPs. So he said. So, of course, I personally wasn't paying him much mind with it, but after he mentioned what he did in Parliament, and there were some persons, his supporters, the Rise United Movement supporters who are captured the PNP, they were there saying they want to know the names of the 6. So I thought to myself, well, why don't I go find out? Let me go do some research. I didn't know what I would find, but my first attempt was to call the Integrity Commission itself to find out what report it is that they sent to the Parliament but wasn't tabled. They may or may not be able to give me that information, but I didn't get anybody. So I went on the website and I saw some reports, and I, was just looking through and reading the Dalrymple report and so on. Lo and behold, while I was doing my investigation, somebody called and sent me a clip from Nationwide News Network. Asked me where I was. I don't know what's going on. And it was a media release from the Integrity Commission. And I don't know if any of you have seen it as yet. Let me see if I can find it quickly for you. But if not, I will add it in later. But in that news release, the Integrity Commission said that there is no outstanding report. All of the reports that they sent to and investigations that they sent to Parliament, all of them have been tabled. That's what they said. And when it came to the illicit 6, they said there was only one report where that was mentioned, and that was in the annual report, and it was tabled. And I remember seeing the annual report on the website. So what I wanted to know from the Integrity Commission, at what point do you put a report on the website? And the answer that I got was that once I sent the report of any investigations or any annual report to the Parliament, and it is tabled, it is after it is tabled in Parliament, that is when they upload the report now, so that we can have it for our benefit and the media as well as the public. When I checked it, the date of the annual report that was sent to Dalrymple, she was the Speaker of the House at the time, was the 29th of June 2023. Now, the 29th of June 2023 fell on the Thursday. It was not tabled until 11th of July 2023. So, the report went to the Parliament on the Thursday. The first sitting after that would have been the Tuesday, and it was not tabled at that one. It was actually tabled at the one after that. And I do believe that the Senate, I'm not sure if it's the same document, I think it's a separate document that the Senate got. And Tavares Swinson said he had tabled his. So this report has been tabled since the 11th of July 2023. Now, isn't that amazing? And yet, there was Mr. Goling in the Parliament asking over and over again what has happened to the report which was submitted by the Integrity Commission for tabling in Parliament of the investigations of 6 parliamentarians suspected of illicit enrichment. You remember that? All right. Now, in waiting to get in touch with the Integrity Commission to get the information about when the reports are normally tabled, if it's tabled before or after Parliament, I decided to kill some time by looking to see what was reported at the time. So I put in illicit 6, the Integrity Commission, and sure enough, Loop News came up with the report that they had made on the 11th of July 2023, which was the same day that the report was tabled in the Parliament. And their report reads, 6 politicians under Integrity Commission probe for illicit enrichment. So you can go and look it up as well. But let me read it for you if you don't mind. I hope not. So it says here, 6 Jamaican parliamentarians are currently being investigated for illicit enrichment by the country's anti-corruption watchdog, the Integrity Commission. Now, before I go on, I want you to notice the word that they use. They never said 6 Jamaican members of parliament. They said 6 Jamaican parliamentarians. Parliamentarians include the senators as well. So the parliamentarians are the 63 members of parliament and the 21 members of the Senate. They are the parliamentarians, right? And so there are 84 of them. So out of the 84 of them, the Integrity Commission is saying that they have 6 of them that they are investigating. All right, let me read now what Loop News said happened at the time. The disclosure is contained in the 2022 to 2023 annual report of the Commission that was tabled Tuesday in the House of Representatives. You heard that? The disclosure that these 6 people are being investigated was tabled on Tuesday at that time. That would have been the 11th. And it was the annual report 2022-2023, and that was what I saw on their website. Very prims up there, very nicely at the top of the list, right? That is where the illicit 6 were mentioned. I want you to pay close attention now. We're getting somewhere. I want you to listen to this part. As is customary, the lawmakers have not been named while the probe is ongoing. As is customary, the lawmakers have not been named while the probe is ongoing. And they confirmed at the Integrity Commission that once they are still investigating, they will not name the persons that they are investigating in the report. What they will do, they will call them by a code name. You might say them, call them person A or person B and person C. They don't name them. The first time that the person is named is when the investigation is complete. it has been sent to the Director of Corruption Prosecution for determination as to whether to lay charges. And if the Director of Corruption Prosecution determines that charges should be laid against that person, then she would write such a report, submit it to the Parliament for tabling, and it is after it is tabled in the Parliament that the report now will be uploaded to their website, and a media release would be uploaded to Twitter. They call it X nowadays. And I suspect that the reason why Twitter is chosen or preferred is that Twitter has a timestamp where not only the date is recorded, but also the time when the tweet was made. What happened last year? Dalrymple knew that she was on the investigation. When the report came into the Parliament, she apparently may have thought that her name was included. But if you recall well, the recommendation for her to be charged was made in September of last year. That's 2 months after the annual report was tabled in the Parliament. And so her name, even though it may have been included in the 7, her name was not mentioned in the annual report, which was before her to be tabled. So it was she who was trying to delay because she knew they were investigating her. You follow what I'm saying? All right, so let us move on now. So those 6 persons, according to the report and according to what the Integrity Commission confirmed to me, the names of them would not be mentioned in the report because the investigation is still ongoing. All right, you get that now? I know you do, man. I know you do. You guys brighten, man. So the Loop News went on to say, to explain now what illicit enrichment means. Oh, listen good now. Illicit enrichment refers to a significant increase in the assets of a public official that he or she cannot reasonably explain in relation to his or her lawful income. In other words, they have one big house, they have a nice Mercedes Benz, and all them think that probably value like $300 or $400 million, and yet them getting a $2 million salary. They don't have any investment in any business. They might be working for the $2 million salary for say 10 years. So the maximum salary they would have is $20 million. And remember, they would be spending money in the meantime. So they now have to explain how the dickens and where did the money come from to build that big house and have those expensive vehicles. If you cannot explain, then no, that is where you're going to get yourself in trouble. So that is what illicit enrichment means. And it's them investigations now, and the questions that they ask you and the responses that you give is what will determine whether or not they charge you for illicit enrichment. Let me continue. It says here the 6 lawmakers, these are the persons that's being investigated. The 6 lawmakers being probed have allegedly breached sections 14(5)(a) of the Corruption Prevention Act. The provisions in section 14 states that illicit enrichment happens where a public servant owns assets disproportionate to his lawful earnings and upon being requested by the commission or any person duly authorized to investigate an allegation of corruption against him, to provide an explanation as to how he came by such assets. He fails to do so or gives an explanation which is not considered to be satisfactory. In other words, them not just say, all right, you earn 20 million, you have a $500 million house, and then run and arrest you. No. Them have to call you and ask you. Because what happened? You can't have a relative that died and leave it for you, you know. It could be that you have a little sugar daddy or sugar mama that spend all that money on you, right? It could be that you have an investment. Some, you know, people don't like chat them business, and you can explain. So they call you in and you give them an explanation. And if the explanation is satisfactory, then you can go on. If it is not satisfactory now, then no, we're going to read now what they said would happen. So if it's not satisfactory, such a person shall be liable to prosecution for the offense of illicit enrichment. Additionally, it shall be a defense to a person charged with an offense of illicit enrichment to show the court that he came by the assets by lawful means. In other words, I don't even know why they put that in there, because it stands to reason that if you charge a man for illicit enrichment and you carry him before the court, he's going to show the court that me have a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. I met sugar daddy and sugar mama can show that they were Bill Gates or Elon Musk and treating them sweetie plum to buying them all these assets. You understand me? And then once the court hears that and is satisfied, and Elon Musk and Bill Gates come and confirm that yes, it's true, they are my sweetie plum, and I decide to give them these assets because you know how these things go. That is the end of that. If they can't do that, then them fine them a whole heap of money, send them to prison, or both. Anyway, let me continue. It says, the Integrity Commission in its annual report, which is what was tabled last year, July, also disclosed that 7 parliamentarians are being investigated separately for providing false information under Section 43(2)(a) of the Integrity Commission Act 2017. And section, this doesn't exist, it's a mistake, it's probably 15(2)(b) of the Corruption Prevention Act 2001 in relation to their statutory declarations. Now, my friends, I was shocked when I saw this. I said, I have to bring it to your attention. Remember that Mark Golding is only speaking about the illicit 6, but there are actually 7 more parliamentarians who the commission is saying provided false information on them statutory declarations. They are also being investigated. And what I find curious is that Mark never mentioned that set. Why would he not mention that particular group, those 7 parliamentarians being investigated for providing false information? That, by the way, is what Dalrymple, I think, was prosecuted for, or at any rate, they said they're going to prosecute. I don't even know if they went through with it. Can you help me to understand? There are 13 parliamentarians who are being investigated for illicit enrichment and providing false information to the Integrity Commission on a statutory declaration. And yet Mark Golding is only talking about the 6. Only the 6 who are being investigated for illicit enrichment. Why is that so? No, I find that strange. And what I did, I went and looked back at his own declarations. They are on the Integrity Commission's website. I think he made 3 statutory declaration. And I looked because I seem to recall that he had declared $0 for real estate. But that is not so. He did declare real estate, but it appears that it may have been for 2 properties. One he declared in Jamaican dollars. One he said value about 180,000 US dollars. And the other property value around 40 million Jamaican dollars. When he made the declaration last year, for the year before, he declared $0 for the real estate now in the Jamaican dollar because he had sold a property that he owned in Barbican. That was the property that he and his wife had initially. So, this is now very, very curious because he lives at a house in Farringdon Drive, which is somewhere up in the Jacksonville area, right? In Barbican. It turned out that he also owns a house in Hope Pastures, I think the house is, the matrimonial home, right? That he owned. So the 2 properties, the one in Jamaican dollar that he had declared, apparently that's the one that he had sold last year for, I think it was 60-something million or 50, I think it was 50-something million, it said. Therefore, he now declared $0 for real estate property. Okay? But in the US dollar section, he declared a property, a real property, for $180,000 US. All right, follow me now. Yet, he owns that house in Farringdon at any rate, a company that he had beneficial ownership of, he and his wife, owned the property. Zara Burton of 48 Degrees North, she did her own investigation and found out that he owns a property in Portland that he bought for 15,000 US in 2015. The question she asked him was whether that was declared. He and his wife owned it in their own name. Now remember now, after they took out that property they own in Barbican, which is in the Jamaican dollar side, we don't know if the property that they own in Portland is included in that 180,000. So Zara Byrne asked, but he didn't give her a clear understanding. She also found, and so did we, that he owns a property, he and his wife, in Florida. It appears as though that property is rented. I think I saw something like they were getting something like 2,200 US. I think an agent was dealing with it. So that US dollar section now might be referring to that property, the value of that property. It could be that it is also referring to the value of the land that they bought in Portland as well. But when Zara was asking him the question, he was waffling. But Zara did declare in the end that he did make the declaration. Now, he made the declaration last year. The question is, did he make those declarations in the previous years? The Integrity Commission would have to do their own investigation and look at what it was that he declared, because he would tell them the properties and the value and so on. What they would give us in the report would have been the summary of what it is that he declared. Now, the question though, and the problem that he had, was in dealing with the house at Farringdon. In his mind, he does not own the house because it's not in his name. It's a company that owns the house. So I expect that he and the Integrity Commission would have been discussing how the house should be treated, whether or not it should be considered to be his house or it should be considered to be the company's house. He's arguing that it is not his house, so he did not have to declare it. Now, everything depends on what the Companies Act says about who owns a company, and when the company owns assets, who owns those assets. I am no lawyer, but common sense would tell me that if you and your wife, you see, if it's a company, like one of those big companies, and those companies own assets, then all the shareholders would own the assets equally. But this is a company with only two people in it at the time. It was he and his wife. They bought the house at Farringdon in about 2000. And that was when they bought it in the name of this company, which appears to have been the combination of the two first letters of the children's name. The company owns the Farringdon house, but they are the only two persons, according to Mark, who owns the company. So when the Farringdon house is sold, how they would sell it now is to sell the shares. The money they would have received from the sale price would have gone to them, Mark and his wife, only because they are the sole owners of the company. At least that was the case before 2021. Zara reported that Mark told her in their communication that he had transferred the shares of the company, which owns Farringdon Drive, to his 3 children. So the question is, should he have declared the company which owns Farringdon Drive in his statutory declarations in 2021 and before? I don't know in the end if he did declare it. Zara said that he did. But the question of whether or not he was declaring it in the first instance is what may put him into trouble with the commission. Because if you put in a report and you take an oath that this is correct to the best of your knowledge, jolly well knowing that you have a house that you did not include in it, that is where you get into problem now with them saying that you provide false information on your statutory declaration. So this now is where some persons got themselves in trouble. But as I said before, why is it that he never mentioned those 7 parliamentarians? Don't you find it curious? I do. So we now know that there were in fact 13 parliamentarians who were being investigated by the Integrity Commission. They were investigating them. Again, those names would not have been sent to the parliament. They would have them in code names. All right? So let me continue. Now it says, the annual report shows that at the end of the reporting period, March 31, 2023, the Commission reported 71% compliance rate for public officials and a 92% compliance rate for parliamentarians with respect to the requirement to file the statutory declaration. So they're talking about people who are generally complying. But of the 84 parliamentarians, the Commission said only 77 had submitted on time. After the due date, 4 additional parliamentarians submitted their report, and 3 were outstanding. So at the time when the Commission drafted the annual report, there were 3 parliamentarians who did not submit their statutory declaration. And that basically is what this was saying. So we learned a lot from Loop News, who collected information very nicely for us and reported it, right? And we learned something important. There were in fact 7 plus 6, that's 13 parliamentarians that are on investigations. And we need Mark Golding to come and tell us why it is that he was just talking about the 6 and he never mentioned the 7. That is something that I want to know. And is he one of the persons included in the 7? Was he contacted by the Integrity Commission, and was he told that they were investigating him for providing false information under Section 43(2)(a) of the Integrity Commission Act of 2017? We need to know that, because there must be some reason why he chose not to mention ever that there were 7 parliamentarians being investigated for submitting false information on their statutory declaration. What could that be? Because there must be some reason why he chose not to mention those other 7 parliamentarians. And we know that there were some issues about one of the properties that he had that it appears as though he was not reporting. So we want him to tell us whether or not he was contacted by the Integrity Commission, not about illicit enrichment. No, not that one. We're talking about providing false information on his statutory declarations, which is against the law. Was he contacted by them? He needs to answer that question. Now, let me give you something else. Mark Golding now, having gone into Parliament and created all this excitement, he got himself now into a bit of a problem. When the Integrity Commission came out, now it's long time they've been doing this thing, you know. They've been going out and talking about the illicit 6 and how the government is hiding these illicit 6. And Integrity Commission sat down and said nothing. I don't know why it was that they decided to come out this time. I don't know if they were written to by somebody who asked them whether or not the report that they submitted to be tabled was tabled, and the name of the documents. Perhaps somebody wanted to put out a report, as I did. And the Integrity Commission, however, felt it necessary to make a response by putting out that letter. Now, in response to the letter, listen to Mark Golding. You will recall that in his budget presentation, he made some comments which the government side found offensive and they walked out. Well, he posted those same comments on his Twitter page, and I'll read it for you. And I'll also read his response to the Integrity Commission. I have the letter here. You want me to read the letter for you that the Integrity Commission put out today for immediate release to the media houses? All right, let me read it quickly. It says as a caption, the heading, all Integrity Commission annual and investigation reports submitted to Parliament for tabling have been tabled. Did you hear that? All the Integrity Commission annual and investigation reports. So anybody that they are investigating and they submitted it to the Parliament to be tabled, all of them have been tabled. They don't have nothing outstanding. And this they put out today, March 22, 2024. They went on to say, the Integrity Commission has taken note of comments that have been and continue to be made in sections of the media, which would suggest that reports that have been submitted by the Commission to Parliament for tabling are yet to be tabled. In the public interest, the Commission wishes to advise and to confirm that all of its investigation and annual reports that have so far been submitted to Parliament for tabling have in fact been tabled. None is outstanding. You hear that? Regarding matters that are currently before the Commission, inclusive of matters that are under investigation, the Commission is, however, unable to make any public comment regarding same because it is prohibited from doing so by Section 56(1) and or Section 53(3) of the Integrity Commission Act. The Commission wishes to remind the public that in the interest of public transparency, once it sends an investigation report to Parliament for tabling, it immediately issues a media release to advise the public that it has done so, despite the fact that it is, at that point in time, prohibited by law from identifying the subject of the report. So then we just tell us that they send one document gone to Parliament, but they won't tell you what it is. And then now when Parliament table it, then they upload the document and everybody can go read what it is that they table, right? They went on to say in this final paragraph, however, once that investigation report is tabled in Parliament, the Commission issues an advisory on X, formerly Twitter, to inform the public, and it also publishes a report on its official website, and they give you the website. So the Integrity Commission put this report out because of the comments that have been made in the media, right? Because that is where the information, whenever the politician says something somewhere, it is published in the media and then that's how everybody get it. So what they're saying now is that these comments have been going on for quite some time now. So now they must set the record straight. So after the Integrity Commission went and put that devastating piece of information out, which is now an embarrassment, Mark Golding put this out. And let me tell you what time he put it out. He put it out today, March 22, at 6:30 p.m. All right, and he edited it. He found some mistakes and edited it. He said, let me set the record straight. Facts matter. That's what I'm saying now. Let me go and read. Last year, the current speaker made a ruling that certain Integrity Commission reports must be sent to Parliament's Integrity Commission Oversight Committee for review before those reports are tabled in the Parliament and become available to the public. The opposition disagrees with that ruling, which is present, which departs from previously established practice and impedes a prompt publication of important information that is required for transparent and accountable governance. Despite the controversy that her ruling has caused, The Speaker has not withdrawn or changed that ruling. So he's saying that Juliet said she would put the report before the Integrity Commission Oversight Committee before it is tabled. And he's saying that is a departure from what is normal. He went on to say at number 2, the Speaker also refused to release to parliamentarians and the public the legal opinion on which she purported to rely in making that ruling, despite having been requested to do so on several occasions by the opposition parliament. Now, you will recall when Dalrymple was trying to, it would appear, delay the tabling because she thought that perhaps her name was in that particular report. Her name, if she was part of the 7, her name was never mentioned, but she may not have known. So she was the one who had said initially that she was going to ask the Attorney General, which is the government's lawyer, to declare whether or not these reports should actually be going to the Oversight Committee. It was she who was trying to delay it. When Juliet Holness was named the new Speaker of the House after Dalrymple resigned for obvious reasons, because she was now slated to be charged for making false report, Juliet didn't know where anything was. So when the opposition asked her about it, she said, well, me not really know why my predecessor wanted to go to the Attorney General to ask her this question. I don't know what it was that she was asking about. I also don't know what the response she got from the Attorney General. I am going to find out. But based upon what I'm seeing, I am not seeing any report, outstanding report from the Integrity Commission on my table. But Mark is insisting, yes, man, you have it here and do not hide it. She went away and she came back and said, I'm not quite sure if she said that she was going to send this document to the committee, right? Mark is saying that that is what she did. So we're going to take him word for it if we can, until we know otherwise. Anyway, at part 3, so that's how that went. So at part 3 now, he said, there are currently 2 reports from Auditor General that were sent to Parliament in January. It is now mid-March and they have not yet been tabled. Well, you see, true, you the claim say them never tabled the Integrity Commission reports and it was tabled. Tomorrow I'm going to go and call the Auditor General to find out is which document that. However, just as Mark Golding did, and it was very clever, he never said the name of the document, you know. So she gonna look for this document. She said she not seen a document. He must say, yes, the document is there and it has not been tabled. And then he gone out on the street, gonna call up the people them name and say how them a hide document and them a protect this. And then you have the comrades them, you know how comrades are. Is an opponent. And them go wonder if she and her husband involved and all the speculation about the people. And he never named the document. Because you see, if he had named that document, if they had thought, what is the name of the document you're talking about? And he said the document is called the Annual Report of 2022-2023. The clerk of the house would simply look in her book, saw that the document came in, what date it came in and what date it was tabled. But he cleverly never said the document and then never noticed him, never said the name of the document. So there is poor Juliet Holness a look for document. That never existed because it was already tabled. Let me continue. Mark went on to say, he talk about, now him telling us now that the Auditor General have 2 reports that was tabled in January, right? No, but him never said what the name of those reports are. You see him doing the same thing. He's not saying that the 2 reports are A and B, so that we can go check now and see if those reports were really laid in January and it wasn't tabled. So we need to go check to find out what documents the Auditor General sent to the Parliament sometime in January and whether or not it was tabled. But how we are going to look now and we don't have no name for these documents. You follow? You see the trick? He did it before and he might do it again. Anyway, he went on to number 4 and he said, these are issues that I complained about this week in relation to the conduct of the Speaker of the House since her appointment. Listen to what I'm saying at number 5, you know. At no time did I suggest that there are presently any Integrity Commission reports that have been sent to Parliament and are yet to be tabled. In a quote now from the press release put out by the Integrity Commission. You heard what I'm saying? All right, make we go back now. Go look at what it was he had said. Let me tell you the date on this one now. On the 19th of March. Now, that was the day he made his presentation in the Parliament. And the words that offended the government side, which led to them walking out of the Parliament. He repeated it again on his Twitter page. So I'm going to let you hear now what it was that he said. We are in an increasingly low trust environment. He started by saying, since this JLP government came to office in 2016, no less than 8 ministers have been forced to resign or have otherwise been sanctioned for a range of various breaches, and Jamaica continues to rank poorly on the international corruption indices. True. Excuse me. Next, he said, the move in 2020 to take away the chairmanship of most parliamentary committees from the opposition has weakened that mechanism of holding the government to account. He probably meant in the Parliament, because you can hold them to account outside too. Okay? But I think he's talking about the Parliament. Listen to what he says here. The maneuvers to delay the tabling of reports from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission remains a contentious matter, especially since the legal opinion on which this delay is purportedly based has been withheld from parliamentarians and the wider public. Remember what he said before? He said he never mentioned about no integrity commission, never said it was not tabled. And then here is he talking about the delay in the tabling after he's out there claiming that the government has the name of these illicit six and is not telling us about it, right? He's giving the impression that the Integrity Commission's reports were not tabled. He went on to say, when the former speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, they moved to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, does not sit well with the tradition that the speaker must act independently of the government of the day. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Golding, how somebody who is elected or selected from the government side to be speaker going to act independently of them? How that going to work? So there is no real logic in that argument he's putting forward as what is expected. I don't know where that is expected. There is no tradition that no speaker must act independent. How you must act independently of the government that you belong to? You are expected to be fair and to the parliamentarians, but that don't work either. I don't know who speaker was fair. Maybe somebody who knows can tell me. All right? He went on to say, the failure, listen to this now, listen to it. The failure to disclose the identity of so-called illicit six MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment remains a festering sore, only made worse by the Prime Minister's gag order and cabinet ministers speaking publicly on these matters. Didn't he not say that he didn't talk about it, talk about the report being delayed? It's true, but he did spoke about the illicit six, and he did something even worse. He claimed that there were illicit six MPs, member of parliament. It's not true, it's parliamentarians. That's the first thing. He also said that there is a failure to disclose the identity of these six people, implying that Juliet Holness, Andrew Holness, and the government side have the information of the MPs because it was submitted by the Integrity Commission to them. So they have that information. They have not given it to us. They know who the six are. They know that they are MPs, And they have not told us, and then have not told the people, and it remains a festering sore. That's what he said. Now the question is that the truth? Didn't you hear Mark Golding telling the public that he was a person who had created, more or less, this present legislation for the Integrity Commission? So he knows that once there is an investigation, which he has admitted to, that the so-called MPs are under investigation by the Integrity Commission. So he knows it's an investigation. And therefore he knows that the Integrity Commission will not release the names of the persons that they are investigating. So when he's blaming the government and saying that they know the name of the 6 members of parliament and hiding it from the public, he must know that he's not speaking the truth. He must have known that he's not speaking the truth. But yet, just like he did with the local government election, claiming that him win when he know him don't damn well win nothing. Because the local government election is about the control of the 13 parishes. Kingston and St. Andrew are one parish. Right? And the councillors that are elected sit in the parish council to manage the affairs of the parish. Portmore is not a parish. Portmore is just a municipality which is a branch of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. So he knows. But he's out there spinning facts. This is not a leader. A leader does not put things out there that is not true to confuse your own people and mislead them. That's not what leaders do. You educate the people. And you, as a leader, you should know how to talk to them. Oh, you know, we went out there and we worked very hard for this victory. We didn't get the victory. However, I want to thank all of the people them that worked very hard. And then say, but we did score some pluses. There are some pluses that we can look forward to. We had the majority of the votes. We had the majority of the seats. It just never worked out where we won the majority of the councils. But we are going back to the drawing board, and we are going to come back and see what we could have done differently so that next time we'll make sure we put them in place and win. Why couldn't say that? Why couldn't say that? This man is a deceiver. It's either he's a deceiver, or as I said yesterday, there is something desperately wrong with his memory and he's not remembering things. And we need to have a medical report on him. Because if he knows that what he's saying is not true, then what does that make him? I won't tell you. You can put it in the comment section, though, feel free. Or what do you think? And if he doesn't know that what he's saying is not true, then what does he know? He has a mental issue. And we need to know what that is, why it is that he's flip-flopping in this way. If it is not setting out to deceive people and trick people for his own political benefit, not caring the effect that it is having on the productivity of the country, not caring the effect that it is having on the people, he don't care about that. What he cares about is the fact that he can go out, they go claim now that him win. Oh, them have 7 mayors, we have 7 mayors. They have 7 municipalities. We have 7 municipalities, which is a lie. There's only 1 municipality in Jamaica, and that's Portmore. The rest of them are municipal corporations, right? And since them have 7 and we have 7, then it's a tie, and we have the majority of the people who voted for us, therefore we win. Which part in the local government election you ever hear is saw anybody win local government? He's spinning or he's lying. Which one is it? Which one you think it is? Is it that Mark Golding don't know anything? Three options. Is it that he doesn't know anything about the country, about the politics? He don't know about the country. Because when you notice that he went to all these various places and talking to people, he couldn't tell them nothing about them water, and then like, all they talk about is to vote for me, Mark Golding, and I go and do this, and I'll get rid of Brogan, and that's what he was talking about. So the question is, we would like Mark Golding to tell us, did you not know that the Integrity Commission will not release the names of the persons that they're investigating? You never know that. And if you did not know, how is it that you didn't know? You need to explain to us how you didn't know. When a UCM1 said that you worked on the legislation, you said so. And if you knew, why are you coming out to deceive the people? Because it would have to be deception. If you know the truth and you're coming out there to tell people something else in order for them to believe a lie, then you're deceiving them. Now, if you are not deceiving them and you really don't know, why is it that you don't know? And why is it that you are in our parliament? Because clearly there's something desperately wrong with you in that case. And you're not remembering things. You're not remembering that the document was tabled. You're not remembering that the Integrity Commission does not put out the names of the persons that they are investigating. You don't remember that. And you very possibly don't remember that the annual report of the Auditor General was tabled already in January. Because I look and I see a document marked the 28th of December 2023. And that looked to me like that was during a holiday period. So that probably would have been tabled in January. I don't know what is the second document you're talking about, because you never named them. So is it another one of your forgetfulness? No, this is very serious. This is very, very serious. And again, I am going to make a demand that we have the medical record of Mark Golding. Mark, you are a public servant. We need to make sure so you're all right. You're talking about 6 people sit down in Parliament that might be elected who are involved in illicit enrichment. Then guess what? Once they are arrested, then we have to go resign. So we just have to run a by-election. But when we have somebody that has a head problem, a problem with forgetting things, if that is the case, or a deceptive mind, which means that something else is going on with you, right? And you have some mental issues, which is causing you not to remember what it is that you have said and done in the past, then why should we elect you to a parliament? Who will be controlling you? You wouldn't be in charge. Somebody else will be in charge. So we need to see a medical record, because this is getting really out of hand now, and it's embarrassing. Anyway, so I will be looking to engage the Auditor General's Department to find out what documents they submitted to the Parliament in January, the names of the documents, as well as whether or not they were tabled, and I will bring that information for you later. Thank you so much for your time. Remember to leave your comments, like and share, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate your company. I appreciate your support for the channel. And until I speak to you again, walk good.
They're just here to trick the people. Wise up. You know what the truth is. The stinking truth, as Senator Floyd Morris called it. And there's more stinking truth to come out, because we want to know who are the 6 members of Parliament who are under investigation for illicit enrichment. Don't hide it. Tell it on the wholeness. I know, say you know who them.